Thank you very much. I now call this meeting of the Aggie Square Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District Public Financing Authority to order at 9:31 a.m. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll to establish a quorum?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good morning. Today's meeting is being streamed live on YouTube in English and Spanish. Please note that the live captioning and translations are AI generated and may contain errors. Members, if you can please unmute your microphones for roll call. Member De La Cruz?
Here.
Member Romney?
Here.
Member Jennings?
Here.
Vice Chair Guerra is currently absent, and Chair Maple.
I am here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, please rise if you are able and join me in the opening acknowledgments in honor of Sacramento's indigenous people and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, Valley and Plains Miwok, and the Patwa and Wintun peoples, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Remain standing, salute, and pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you very much. As always, if there's any members of the public who wish to speak or address the committee, you can scan the QR code in the back, or if you have any questions, you can come up here and talk to our wonderful clerks team, and they'll address that for you. For now, we'll move on to our first item, which is a public hearing item, the annual report for Aggie Square Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District, adoption of the fiscal year 2026-27 budget.
And
Welcome.
we would like to open the public hearing.
And I would like to open the public hearing.
Perfect. Good morning, Chair Maple, members of the Aggie Square PFA, Sini Moxini with the Finance Department. The item before you is a public hearing on the annual report of the City of Sacramento Aggie Square Enhanced Infrastructure Finance District. Staff is here to conduct the public hearing and upon conclusion, pass a motion adopting the fiscal year 2025-26 annual report for Aggie Square EIFD, also adopting the fiscal year 26-27 revenue and expense budget. Both were included in your agenda packets. The annual report requirements mandated under the EIFD statute have been addressed and shown on pages 1 and 2 of the annual report. Before we close the hearing or take any comments, we do have Monique Brown here from the Wexford Development, and she'll go ahead and have a slide presentation to share with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome, Monique. Good to see you.
Good morning, Chair and Committee. I'm pleased to be here today. So Monique Brown, I serve as Knowledge Community Director with Wexford Science and Technology at Aggie Square, and I'm going to just share a little bit about the activity that's been happening in the district since opening last May. So as many of you are aware, grand opening May of 2025. Since then, the district has hosted more than 1,000 meetings and events in the space. Many of those are led by community organizations, the health system, UC Davis, industry partners, attracting more than 35,000 visits into the building. Definitely invite anybody who would like to keep a finger on the pulse of what's happening to join our calendar or newsletter where you can get information about those events. Many of these events are free and open to the public, so you are invited to come and see what's happening. Much of the programming that we have is very specifically directed to community engagement, outdoor programming in particular. This is an example of where we have partnerships across UC Davis Health, UC Davis, Shriners, Wexford, and in this picture here, the Center for Land-Based Learning, which is now bringing its mobile farmer's truck to provide fresh fruit and vegetables to the district every Wednesday. Accepting SNAP and EBT at that as well. As part of our community benefits partnership agreement commitments, we're also doing a lot of work on talent and workforce development. Wexford is part of an initiative called the Biotech Talent Pipeline Management, working with employers to identify key jobs, many of which do not require a four-year degree or beyond, to develop skills in those areas and provide access to high-wage jobs for our communities. So that's just one of the many initiatives that Aggie Square has been supporting, hosting, partnering on over the last year and a bit. In addition, getting started with some much larger strategic programming that convenes people at Aggie Square, but really showcases the greater Sacramento region. This year, we're hosting the very first regional Biotech Summit, September 16th. Again, you're all invited to join us there. This is the result of We Prosper Together funds that have supported this coming online, and it's done in partnership with organizations like SETA, Valley Vision, Capital Impact, Wexford, Biocom, Thermo Fisher, and others. So really working together to move this sector forward in our region. Other strategic programming, this will be our second year of running the Women's Health Innovation Forum at Aggie Square. This has been expanded to 2 days, and it is pulling in investors, policymakers, entrepreneurs, researchers, and clinicians from around the country. So once again, putting Aggie Square in the spotlight, but also the greater Sacramento region. And I'll talk a little bit about why this is important. We get asked a lot about how tenancy is going. How many leases, how many companies have you landed? And I'll be honest, I know it's slower than everybody hoped or expected it to be. How we're addressing this, and maybe back up and say, I only have 3 minutes, so I won't go into all of the things, but nationally, the landscape has been difficult. This sector has faced a lot of challenges, not just in the Sacramento region, but beyond, and I'm happy to talk more about that or answer questions at a later time. But also, I have to tell the story of why a company should want to land in California, and then within that, why Sacramento, and then why Aggie Square. And so there are some really great reasons, answers to all those questions, but here are 4 ways that we're really tackling that. So that strategic programming that I talked about, Cap Bio, Women's Health Innovation Fund, and others like that, are an opportunity for us to introduce people to our region, to the space, to the proximity to UC Davis and UC Davis Health. And through that strategic programming, it's really a large marketing campaign. We're looking to attract and land tenants, and I can share some examples of how that's happened. We've also been working with City of Sacramento, GSAC, the State of California on international soft landing programs, so engaging companies that are looking to establish a U.S. presence, and we've seen a lot of interest from Asia, in particular South Korea, Singapore, Taiwan, and Japan, and I can talk a little more about how that's working as well. The university has leaned in and is doing an incredible job, led by George Baxter at IEDO, Department of Innovation and Economic Development, as well as Don Taylor from UC Davis Health Ventures, and looking at how the university can invest in and spawn more student startups, as well as encourage faculty to think more about translation and commercialization. So that's more of a grow from within strategy. It's a medium to long-term strategy, but the university is planting the seeds and doing the work today to ensure that there is opportunity to land those companies here in the future. And then finally, we have a regional pipeline. Companies that are looking for wet lab space in the region are few and far between, I'll just tell you that, and usually we would be taking them from another space in the region, which is really not what we all want to have happen. But we do have brokers in market that are working hard. GSAC is a great partner, and our economic development partners from around the region as well have been very supportive. It is working. We have Connect Labs on the 2nd floor, which is move-in ready office and lab space. So this is like the easiest point of entry into Aggie Square for an outside company. You can see some of the tenants that we have in our space here. I think to call out from an international soft landing soft landing program point. Garbic in the center is a subsidiary of a Japanese company, and they have a couple people who've moved into market to, again, establish this piece of their operations here. And they took housing in Inova. So this idea of land at Inova, work at Aggie Square, partner with the university, that's an example of a company that's done that. Xeronetic is a company that's coming out of UC Davis. So again, working alongside the health system, UC Davis faculty members started this company landing in Aggie Square. So that's an example. And then Tyndall Therapies moved from the Bay Area, God bless them. So they came from Berkeley and landed at Aggie Square, again, affiliation with UC Davis. So these are some examples of early wins where companies are finding value in being at Aggie Square and adjacent to the health system. And that, I think, is all I have, but happy to answer questions, too.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the presentation, and just want to say briefly that 1,000+ meetings and events, 35,000 visits so far. I know I've been at least some of those, and really appreciated the partnership to have us host events at the space. It's been wonderful for the community. I also really appreciate the mobile farmers market because, as folks may know, our Oak Park Farmers Market has gone away now, and so it's been a needed, I think, gap that's getting filled there. So just really appreciate that work. Want to pass it on over to my colleagues over here if anyone has any questions or comments. I see the vice chair. Go on.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. First, let me just say thank you. We had an opportunity to tour a number of folks from our new sister city, Morelia, and their second largest industry sector, much like Sacramento, is the life sciences. So the experience of seeing the move-in ready labs, how they can identify a space to have a wet lab ready all to move in without having to go through all of the identifiers of where would they supply the equipment here, and have the connection to not only UC Davis, but Shriners Children's also very active in Mexico as well, as long as with the UC system. And so it was a great experience for them to see there is an opportunity here for the type of investment that they're looking for as well. So I just want to say thank you for that work. And I do want to have further discussions about the city's role and also Wexford's role in the outreach efforts and the recruitment efforts. It's not lost on us the challenges in the state to recruiting industry, the benefits, but also the other barriers. And I think we need to narrow in on how do we make those barriers less and be more aggressive on recruiting more businesses. So with that, thank you, Madam Chair.
Wonderful. Couldn't agree more. And then we have Member De La Cruz.
Thank you so much, Monique, for your comprehensive report. I really appreciate all of the community engagement activations you guys have in the site. There's tons. And I was just curious about data collected about the people who participate and how much is coming from the neighboring neighborhoods, community members that are actually surrounding the environment versus students and people who are tenants of the space.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. And I would need to go back to my quarterly reports to get you exact numbers on that. But we have started keeping that data, so I can provide it. And we are seeing really strong engagement from the surrounding neighborhoods at a number of our key open to the public events, like our monthly mix event, the farmers market, and other things like that. I don't want to quote a number because I don't want to be wrong, but we have started keeping that data, and I'm happy to follow up with more details.
That would be wonderful. Thank you very much.
Yeah, great question. And then we have Member Romney.
Hi. You had mentioned that part of your process is trying to attract businesses outside of California to kind of moving here. Are you finding that a lot of people in the Bay Area, a lot of companies in the Bay Area are looking to move to Sacramento because of a cheaper rent or a better situation?
Yeah, it's a great question, and the answer is largely no. Currently, the Bay Area has about 14 million square feet of vacant available wet lab space. So, and I can't emphasize this enough, a company is not going to relocate because they're looking for wet lab space or lab space or office space or anything like that. They are looking for ecosystems. And so to the point made earlier about how do we work together to tell that story, to reach out to companies, it is 100% an ecosystem play. And so we've done a lot of thinking about like what is our value proposition as an ecosystem and how can we work together to make that known and then to deliver on that. Tyndall, who did move from the Bay Area, has UC Davis faculty as part of their team. A number of them were located in Davis. They wanted to be closer up this way and they made the move. I think they're happy. But access to capital is a big deal. Access to executive talent that have launched and grown companies before is a big deal. There's a lot of different factors that go into that we are working so hard at ecosystem building and activation here in addition to the work we're doing just inside the building. I can't stress how important it is for us all to work together on that.
I'm really glad that you said that. One of the things on ecosystems, capital, talent, all of that is really important. One of the things we were there with GSEC, this is a few months ago now with the mayor, and talking to a company. And one of the things that I found interesting was one of the propositions that they were most interested in is what's in it for our workforce too. So there are a lot of things that we can do in partnership and things that the vice chair and others on this committee have worked on, things like Stockton Boulevard BRT and investments in transportation safety and just public transit in general along Stockton Boulevard, our busiest RT corridor, was really of interest. Things like the housing, the 1,000+ units that are planned or under construction on Stockton Boulevard is another piece of that. Like, if you have these companies that are coming here, they want to know, will our workers be able to get to work? Will they have a quality of life? Can they live here? Can they afford it? Is there space for them? And what does their life look like? Because we know that keeping talent is also really important, especially when it's so competitive and there's so many places that people can go. And so I think that that's where I see the real partnership is continuing to make those investments in transit and road safety and housing in particular, especially that missing middle housing that's kind of where we've found a lot of challenges making sure that young people can afford to live in our city. And so we'll continue to do that. But thank you for your presentation and for bringing up those points. I want to make sure that I didn't miss anybody. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so with that, we move on to that doesn't require a motion, does it? Yes, it does. I will entertain a motion. So moved. As long as we don't have public comment, which I don't think we do.
We do not have public comment.
Okay, we have a motion. And a second. We have a motion and a second.
And with that motion and second, are we closing the public hearing?
Open and close the public hearing.
There you go.
And move the item.
Beautiful. Thank you for the reminder. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed or abstain? Hearing none. That passes unanimously. Thank you. And we move on to our discussion calendar. Amendments to the EIFD plan for Aggie Square.
Perfect, thank you. And thanks, Monique, for the presentation. Item number 2 before you is proposed as the second amendment to the infrastructure financing plan. Please let me remind you, the finance plan is a governing document approved by the PFA board that outlines specific projects, costs, and revenue allocations for the EIFD. We are proposing a minor amendment to the list for the EIFD. We are proposing a minor list of public facilities to be financed by the EIFD and another amendment to the list of financing methods authorized by the EIFD. The second amendment will allow for the payment of impact fees as a financing method that may be used by the EIFD to finance authorized facilities. No further amendments to the plan are being considered at this time. So at this time, staff is recommending the PFA board adopt the resolution of consideration, directing amendments to the plan, and establish the date of the public hearing, which is scheduled for September 29th, and which we will be back with the PFA on the 29th to close and adopt that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from my colleagues?
Madam Chair, I'll move the item.
All right, we got a motion?
I will second.
Second, any public comment?
Yes, Chair, we do have one speaker, L.R. Roberts.
Welcome.
I'm Ella Roberts. I live in District 5. I've lived in Oak Park off and on since 1974. I attend the Oak Park Neighborhood Association meetings, and I'm a decade-long member of Dogfight, so today I'm being Dogfight. The local disability rights organization. I attend, let me put these back on, the RT board meetings monthly, and it was yesterday. They discussed how the bus rapid transit being proposed, which looks really interesting, is going to be on Stockton, and its relationship with Aggie Square. Last time I checked, Oak Park had 20,000 people. That was before all these units are being added. And I have met with Aggie Square's staff at least once, and I've attended a couple of their events. So certainly we're interested in how to make things accessible to local people and to disabled people. So as soon as I saw this on the agenda, I wanted to come because we want to make sure that it'll be easier for people to get where they need to go.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think a really great point, and again, why the Mayor Pro Tem has been working on this for many years before I was here, and since I've hopefully helped taking the torch through RT, BRTs will be one of the most significant things that we can do for Stockton Boulevard, for Aggie Square, but also for the Oak Park community, Tahoe Park, and others. Just to make it easier for folks, and especially with folks with disabilities. So thank you for your comments. So with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or
Aye.
any opposed or abstain? Seeing none. All right, that passes unanimously. Fabulous. Okay, that brings us to any member comments, questions, ideas, announcements, anything they want to say to the community. All right, seeing none. With that, this meeting is adjourned at 9:52 a.m. Thank you.